Welcome to the Unwritten Podcast with your host, Thomas Malpass, me. We are on a mission to help the world find passion and peace in their everyday lives through deep conversations and connection. Join us on this journey because we are all on this journey of life together. Today we have Cullen Landers, a friend, ex-co-worker, and aspiring entrepreneur with a wealth of knowledge, and his new product coming out in the near future, Fountain of You, an anti-aging supplement.
Thanks for having me.
So first question, can you take us back to your upbringing and share some experiences that shaped your journey in discovering your own unique definition of what purpose, passion, and peace is?
Well, it was definitely an alternative one because I was born into a musical family. My father was a musician, band Johnny D and the Rocket 88s for 39 years. My mother, prior to meeting my father, was a model in Hawaii, Brazil, and New York. She had contracts and gigs. It's kind of crazy because they were polar opposites when it came to being a couple. So I had a more of a liberal mother and a conservative father, I'll just say that. And but they made it work, and I was able to learn, and they helped me with seeing things in context, not always, or not at any point subjectively, but always in full context. I've always had an open mind on things. I've always been really intrigued and open to questions and asking questions. When I was young, I've always been, even today, I'm a lean guy. I'm 6'4", 202 pounds. Trying to get up there. My ultimate goal is around like 235. Just get some mega muscle. That would be
Natural.
Yeah,
Natural.
but that's part of the goal. I love exercise because it's a great challenge. But growing up, I was very scrawny, skinny, picked on a little bit for it. But I always had a good head on my shoulders, and I always got into sports. I was very long and got very tall at a very early age. I was the second tallest kid in my elementary school, one of the tallest in my middle school. I went to Bowie High School, and for anybody listening in Austin, Texas, that's one of the bigger high schools in all of Austin. There's a lot of people that go to that school. But
Is it still open?
Bowie?
Yeah.
Yes, it's actually, they refurbished the whole high school campus, and they built a parking garage and a tennis court on the roof of the parking garage. Yeah, so they're up there.
Cool.
Yeah, and they've always had a great and very prestigious basketball, football, and baseball program. I was class of 2003, and our baseball team was just killing it at the time. But anyway, basketball was a big thing for me, getting into sports. That's always a different route. If you feel like things are getting difficult, things that you shouldn't, it stinks being bullied because you don't deserve it, and there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
So anybody with any kind of an IQ at all will be like, well, look, like we were talking about earlier, fly on the wall. If you're a fly on the wall, seeing a bullying somebody.
Or bystander.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're never going to consider it right, but sometimes it happens to you because life is not hardly ever just black and white. It's always gray. Because that bully has got some stuff going on himself that he cannot handle. And that's a big reason. That's a deep conversation, but that's a big reason for bullying. You always read about these Stephen King bullies and stuff being so violent.
Stephen King bullies?
Well, they're considered to be the worst bullies Like
The Stephen King.
oh my God,
I'm
not no Stephen King bullies. I'm not kidding. They are the
What?
worst. No, when
Where
it
does
comes,
that come from?
well, it from any Stephen King novel or
Yeah,
movie.
it's
The
gruesome.
bullies are literally murderous at times.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll slice you with a knife. The bully and it. I mean, it was all the bullies in Stephen King novels. I'm sure he had gone through his own prejudice. I'll just say, growing up and being picked on, stuff like that. But the cool thing about stuff like that is it does humble you. It strengthens you because challenge is part of our species. We must have it. That's why these people with these tons of money, celebrities, these
The ones
extremely
that
wealthy
that
people.
came into wealth.
Yes.
Like they don't
have
know
kids.
anything else.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of times their kids are just like, what's my purpose? Everything's given to me. And they end up
There's tons
not
of stories.
succeeding nearly
Yeah.
as much as their mother or father.
Yeah.
Or their prior lineage,
No, I was just talking to this with my sister and saying the concept that it's just human nature to learn through pain. And in its simplest form, learning through pain begins when a baby learns how to walk. And when the baby is constantly falling and scraping its knees, and it doesn't just stop, right? It doesn't stop when it falls. It gets back up and it learns how to walk. And that's how pretty much like life is. Like,
oh yeah, and you watch these animal videos and stuff. You'll realize how privileged and how well we have it as
like
children.
nature's metal or whatever.
We have two parents. We have the IQ and we have opposable thumbs and hands to where we can create shelters, because we are not a nocturnal species. So we have to have numerous hours of sleep in a 24-hour cycle. In the wild, you can't just lay on the grass and fall asleep for 8 hours. Good luck.
Yeah.
You're going to get bugs. You're going to get some kind of predator. Something's going to try to peck at you.
It's like a constant like anxiety.
Yes. So the fact that we are born and we are have unconditional love, hopefully, for the most part, we would like to think that every nuclear family is unconditional love to that child. Just keep it positive. But we're taken care of, but at the same time, like you said, falling, scraping, getting back up, it is a natural instinct to keep going, to deal with BS.
It's like the natural like path of like growth, I guess. It's like you have to face adversity to like learn something that's just part of being like human, I think.
Oh yes.
To be honest.
Oh yeah. You look at people like David Goggins and Jocko, people like that.
He always puts himself in.
Holy.
Yeah.
Whew. It's incredible the motivation that they have.
And they do it on purpose. That's like purpose driven adversity. It's not like, but that purpose driven adversity helps build resilience. So if you did face like a real tragic adversity, you'd be better equipped than if you didn't prepare for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Taking risks and going through risky situations that might not have a positive outcome all the time makes you more cognizant and naturally just aware of what you want to get yourself into in the future. If you take certain risks about certain things and you find out, oh, I like this, you can keep on going. If not, if the risks you're taking are not ending up in your favor, you know what risks to stay away from.
No, I think that's also a part of, it's what this whole podcast is about, but I think exactly what you just said is a part of finding your passion, like quote unquote passion, because you don't like necessarily like find your passion. Your passion, I think, is part of your life's experiences and trying new things and seeing what you like versus you don't like. And then whenever you find that one thing that just brings you so much life and like fulfillment, that's what I think is your passion, is whenever you try so much things and like take the risk and go through different life experiences and finding that one thing that you really like, you could be like, I could do this like the rest of my life. I think that's like what your passion is.
Exactly. I do agree wholeheartedly with you on that. That was really well said. I love challenge now, and I'm just gonna, TMI, I guess. But you know me, I'm
It's
outspoken.
all right.
I'm a suicide and overdose survivor. In my teenage years, I'm not gonna go into detail or anything, but I'm not proud to bring it up, but I can bring it up without feeling uncomfortable now, because I'm no longer in that state. I get down, there's fits of anxiety, and sometimes my dopamine and serotonin is not from what I want it to be in the day. But I will never be in that dark pit again, because I was afraid to take risks. To reiterate, a little bit of bullying in grade school, and I wasn't too happy with the way I looked. I was just a bit string bean.
Like self-esteem.
Yeah, and I was very goofy. So I'm still it. But some people love me. Some people are like, you are no,
Yeah.
And that's probably the reason why I got picked on too, because I'm just kind of an alternative person. I don't act a certain way towards any demographic or any person. I'm gonna be me 24/7, and I'm proud of myself for that. Now, because I was a bad kid. I was getting myself in trouble, getting arrested and stuff all the time, probation numerous times. But I went in the military, Airforce. That was a huge risk. I would have never done that, because whenever I did what I did, I was around 17 years old, and when I went into the military, I was 23. So in those years, I had a lot of growing.
Like in between.
Yes, I had a lot of looking at the mirror and just in my head screaming at myself. Not even saying anything, just looking at the mirror. And I really do think, I've heard other people on podcasts say this, so I know I'm not just some crazy person, but it is kind of meditative. To just look at yourself and to just know, hey, it's us, it's me, myself, and I. No matter what happens, I have to keep going for me.
I think it's like part of your identity. It's like knowing, because it'd be a weird world before the invention of the mirror or whatever. All we had was water and the reflections in the water and
it's so funny. Speaking of animals, it's so funny when you see those videos of them putting mirrors in rainforests
in front
and stuff,
of animals.
And the bears.
What is that?
They usually think it's another bear. It's like, oh, okay. That's crazy. That's
but
cool.
I think that is true, and there might be science behind it, but just looking at yourself and being willing to look at your there's a quote I always say. It's willing to nakedly stare at your inadequacies in life. If you're willing to nakedly stare at your inadequacies, you're willing to grow, because you know what you're weak in, you know what you're aware of how you come off to people, so you don't it's just an opportunity to grow doing that. I think.
Really is.
Yeah.
And taking risks, overcoming challenges. Again, playing basketball was really helped me out a lot, because you win, you lose, you get beat up, you beat other people up. Sometimes I don't care what anybody says. Basketball, especially pickup basketball, is
aggressive.
It's physical, very aggressive. It's physical. It's mental. It's a whole culture. I mean, it really is. One of the coolest things I used to do, I used to feel so cool whenever I'd have a girlfriend I was dating at the time, and I'd have hey, come watch me play. It was just a thing to bring your girl to watch pickup. It just, it feels good.
It's like a confidence boost.
It's definitely a confidence boost.
Hey, that's my girl.
Oh yeah. But that's another thing. After I woke up, I I started talking to, I was like, I never talk to girls. I would wait for them to come to me, which was never. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to approach girls. So I started approaching girls.
When did this happen, though?
This
like,
was...
you said you were, like, between 18 and before you joined the Air
military.
Force.
Mm-hmm.
You said it was, like, a rough period.
That was a rough period where I was trying to find myself, where I was really figuring out what I was going to be. And that's one of the... I mean, that's literally our hormones, though. I mean, whenever we go through
developing.
12, 13, 14, we have puberty. And then once we reach high teenagers and
so young adult,
young adult, yeah, 20, 25
yeah.
years old.
Your brain is still developing.
Oh, yeah, your brain's not even fully developed until around 25.
Yeah, like 25 or 26 or something.
So you're literally growing and learning yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing that I want to preach more than anything being here is, and thing that I wish I would have known when I was 17 was you're not going to know everything about everything, especially your own self. And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
There's you go through the hero's journey is what they talk about. They always say that in a great story, it's always the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And in a hero's journey, it's never.
Yeah, that's like the.
It's never easy. It's never simple.
Yeah, because I'm actually like taking like film school classes right now, and that's like the basis of every story pretty much. It doesn't even matter what story it is. You just take a protagonist, the main character, and you have a antagonist, and then you have like some sort of goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then these all could be like, I guess, subjective or whatever. Like the antagonist could just be like something that's preventing him from getting to that goal. Mm-hmm. It could be anything.
There's always a prevention. You were talking about Warren Buffett earlier.
Yeah.
He has obstacles he goes through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody has certain obstacles, and a lot of which people keep in secret. A lot of which it's a lot of mental. I mean, there are people that have. There was this one great movie with Nicolas Cage called The Weatherman. And I guess I can use this movie as an analogy because he was the weatherman. He was the guy. He was like a celebrity in the city. Everything was going perfect. He was getting just all kinds of things just handed to him. He was treated so well in his career, but his family was collapsing. He just could not figure out. He couldn't bond with his daughter that was going through puberty at the time, and she was kind of getting picked on at school, and just he couldn't relate. And then the wife was just distant. You always have obstacles, no matter what the category.
Yeah.
I mean, even
like billionaires and people with you think they have everything in the world, but inside they're hurting, they're in pain, nobody is perfect, I think so.
And age creeps up with everybody, and so does so does karma. So does karma.
Oh yeah.
I don't mean to. I'm a spiritual person, and I believe that what comes around goes around. So your moral acuteness really matters. I mean, whether you're religious, spiritual, agnostic, atheist, whatever you are, you need to have pure, solid morals. You need to stand on principle, and you need to hold those principles very dear, because, like, you're a family man. I one day want to be a father, because those principles that you hold dear, you secrete those out to the people that you raise and people that you help. If I have bad morals and I'm going around telling people and preaching my bad morals to people that are weak, that are at the time weak-minded and are susceptible to taking things from other people when it comes to advice. You want that advice to be positive. You want it to help, not negate, be negative, be harmful.
Yeah, because if you're in a vulnerable state and you're just seeking like any sort of answer, and somebody like not that good gives you advice, then you build off that energy, and then you like, it's kind of like the law of attraction. Have you heard of the law of attraction? It's exactly that. It's just karma. It's what you attract, more of what you put out. If you put out more positive, happy, energetic, peaceful vibes, like that's what you're gonna get back. If you put out like complaining, negativity, pessimism, and like hate the world vibes, like you're gonna get that energy back. I mean, you could just see it, like, even if you, I don't know if you ever been, I mean, I don't want to like talk about your relationship or whatever, but like in a toxic relationship, when you don't even have to say anything and you could just like feel like that negative like energy vibe off of them.
We work off energies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that quote from the Matrix was true, that we have that each human has the power and energy of a D-volt battery or something like that. I don't know if that's true, but we do work
Our
off
brain,
energies.
I don't know the exact science of it.
And with the nervous system, the nerve endings and stuff, there's no way it doesn't involve energy of some kind. And we use that. That's why we, like you said, we feel uncomfortable around certain people and very comfortable around others. That's why I always consider myself an omnivert, because I am introverted around people that I don't really feel all that comfortable around, and I'm extroverted around people like you and people that I'm comfortable around, family and friends, and just people that have a positive aura about them. You can always tell a person's aura. And a lot of people use their eyes. Most people use their eyes. And that's the thing.
It's like body language.
Exactly. You know, if you
facial cues.
Exactly. The way somebody's looking at it. You know, if their head's down and they're snarling, you might not want to approach them.
If they have R.B.F.
R.B.F.
Resting bitch face.
Oh. That's great. Oh,
like, I've just like been to like the grocery store, and like you see like the cashier with R.B.F. and you're just like,
yeah,
you know they hate their job and they don't want to be there, and it's like.
But that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important to have a job and then to have numerous hobbies that can be lucrative.
That's that you bring up a good point, because that's exactly what this is. Yeah.
I work at a GNC. I don't know how I pay the bills. I don't make enough money. I mean, there's no incentive. I mean, I get.
You're surviving.
No 401k or anything like that. I just go in. I work my hours. I get some commission, but the knowledge that I've gained is like something from a ding dang university. I mean, you know me. I mean, we work together. I loved that stuff. We talked about it all day to people. I had a couple of friends that took numerous years in sign language, and they loved it. And once they got away from their classes and they you
stopped practicing.
They didn't know anybody that were actually deaf, so they never actually used it, other than when they were around. So they forgot a lot of it in less than a couple of years. And they felt a little dumb about it, but same thing with learning a language or something like that. My dad took German most of high school and most of his college years, and he said a lot of that just farted right out of his brain.
No, I think that's actually a good point, because I'm not against like the 9 to 5, but I feel like whatever job like you have, I feel like you should try to get. If you have to work a 9 to 5, you should try to get a job that you at least like or would like to learn about, because that's exactly what you said. Like you like health and fitness, and your job promotes learning more of that. So you're not necessarily like bummed out about going to work. At least you get to like learn more.
Exactly. And from GNC, I got certified in personal training. I have clients, and I'm a personal trainer. I have my supplement that's about to come out. I'm gonna dive into social media at some point and market myself on health, and just post videos on just one day be vitamin A, and then one day be B1, B2, B3, vitamin C, D. I mean, I could just keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so much to learn. It's like music, or being being involved in theater or art or movies. Can't watch them or see them or hear it all, but it's so much fun.
Like it's endless.
It's so much fun swimming in that ocean. And you know me in music. I listen to music from all over the place. That's a great motivator.
Tell me more about like from like when you after like 18 to you said 24.
I went in at 23.
Tell me more about like that period, like from when you were in the military and how that whole like experience was.
So you said 18 to 23,
No,
or
no,
post
from
23 when I was in?
Yeah, when you
Yes.
were in 23 to like, and that whole time.
Well, that was a lot of growing for me as well, because there's a lot of multiculturalism. There's a lot of different types of people from all over the world, all different, and a lot of them go in right after high school, very young. They are released from the arms of their parents for the first time. The
like
fledging,
freedom.
the fledging age is over. The fledging time is over for these birds. I mean, they got to fly on their own now.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad that I went in
A little
few
later.
years. Yeah, a little later.
Mm.
And I had a good head on my shoulders after going through what I had gone through. Beating myself up, to become the person that I am today. But and to be able to go into the military, I was very nervous. I didn't go to the gym. I was still very scrawny, very weak. I had great stamina and cardio thanks to basketball 3, 4, 5 days a week, but
That was your workout?
That was my workout, basically, just
basketball.
running around playing basketball. And I learned real fast, how weak I was those first couple of weeks, doing all those push-ups and marching all day long. But you definitely get a wake-up call. The different types of personalities and how close you get. When they say that the brothers and sisters that you make in the military are like no other when it comes to the bond that you have. I mean, of course, because you go into wartime situations, stuff like that, but the fact that you're away from everything you're used to, I mean, and all you have are the people around you. So we're very close.
It's a culture, yeah.
Yes. It's like throwing people in a house in like a reality show, like Real World or Floribama Shore or something like that.
Whatever, yeah.
It's like they that camaraderie. It's a must. Like they have because we're inevitably going to be around each other all the time. It's our career, so we get very close very fast. And I had a couple of clashes with people. I actually got beat up outside of a club once because of a girl, but. That's another story. But you learn a lot about people, and even though a lot of people, I disagreed with a lot of people's views, you always, like I said about principles, just have a discussion about it. I can't stand it whenever people don't want to have discussions and talk. I think that has a lot. I think that the hindrance of having open conversation, especially with strangers or people that you are close with, either or, has a lot to do with people's confidence.
No, that's
neurologically, I think it really hurts people.
That's why I'm so against cancel culture, and because it limits that. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, as soon as somebody opens up about something controversial, let's just cancel it.
Exactly.
Let's not talk about it.
Yes.
And let's just cancel it.
And the scary,
that's not okay.
Yes. And the scary thing about it is what do you not want them to say?
Exactly.
That's really, if it's not true, why does it matter? If it is
why
true,
cancel it? Yeah.
If it is true, why are you gagging them? Like, that is very authoritarian, and I don't like that, because free speech and being able to speak your mind, wow, we must do it.
Yeah.
As a species, we
And
must do it.
that's taking away from that. Yeah.
Yeah, because there are animals out there and insects and stuff like that are around each other, but they use movements to communicate. Some animal species don't even use sounds to communicate.
It's part of our autonomy.
Yes, it's part of our autonomy to use our vernacular and our vocabulary to each other to enhance our productivity as a society and overall species.
Mm-hmm.
It really saddens me that it's almost 2024 and we haven't gotten things like that right yet. Like imagine if people that had horrible things that would be canceled, if you would just let them speak, and the embarrassment of when the facts and the truth are thrown right in their face. If somebody has something to say and it's not right, then get them on it. Get them on it. And maybe, just maybe, you'll convince them and be like, hey, maybe my way of thinking, maybe I should divert it. Maybe he is right. Maybe I should go on that path.
You have to have an open mind.
Open minds. And there are closed-minded people that you can open. You can expand that doorway, that pathway.
But they have to be willing to.
Yeah, a lot of people have tunnel vision, but there's mental construction you can do to make the tunnel larger, But I made a lot of friends in the military, and it was very cool because they were all so different. I learned so much from them. A lot of them taught me and helped me with my drive, because whenever anybody that's listening that has had a bout of depression, it loves to come back. You don't ever say, oh man, I'm cured. Like I had depression. I had that stuff.
It's kind of like trauma.
Yes.
Trauma is the same. Like it's just part of you.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna linger. It's always gonna be there. And and that's why it's so important to get around people that you trust and people that actually care about you. Because there's a lot of people that become friends or become cordial with others because they think or they know they'll get something from that person. You want to hang around with people that just like your company. And of course, whenever you start those hobbies, those lucrative hobbies we're talking about, you get people that can help as connections and stuff like that, acquaintances. But friends, people that you spend your downtime with, you want to be comfortable. Because
I think it just goes down to the quantity versus quality.
Exactly.
Like you'd rather have more quality friends than more number of friends.
Exactly. A lot of those friends that I had in the military that I felt comfortable around, I still somewhat keep in contact with them to this day. I'm not really a big social media guy until the near future when I forcibly coerce myself to get into it.
It's just a tool.
Because I'm just it is a tool.
Yeah.
I must use it for
promote,
marketing and stuff because I want to convey the message of health so much, especially because I literally tried to turn myself off on purpose. That's whenever you think about suicide, that's literally what you're doing. Like you're like a console or a computer and you're turning yourself off. Like, why would you do that? Like your purpose is to be on and to be used. If you're a console, a computer, anything, why would you turn yourself off? So it makes me but it's crazy. It's crazy thinking about it. But no, it's just so cool because I'm 38 years old. I'm almost 39. I got things that are really coming into fruition, and I have negative things. I have things that suck in my life. But that's life. Everybody has those sucky things, just like we were talking about earlier. But the fact that I can deal with those sucky things in this body, I'm not not getting eaten by worms. I'm not in a pail. I'm not, I'm not. Everybody's like, man, that Cullen guy, he was pretty funny sometimes. Not those 2-second stories and then I'm forgotten about. I am here.
Yeah.
My timeline is still extending.
It's about being grateful every day.
Every day.
Every day you wake up and you just cherish.
Yeah.
You just cherish life, and that everything you do, you get to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some people that literally don't get to even wake up.
Exactly.
Or get to sleep in a comfortable bed, or get to eat good food every day.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, being alive is just something to be grateful for.
Oh yeah, and where you are and where you live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, always take advantage of the privilege of the foliage and the environment and the society, the civilization that you live in. Because if you're in a war-torn country, third world country, corrupt country, it's just, you're not living the way. If you're
to the full potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they make do. I mean, those are some of the humblest, most incredible people in the world right now are the people in those situations, because they have iron hearts. I mean, you talk about, good God, the things that are going on in the world right now. We all see it on the news and stuff. I mean,
and we're like privileged.
Yeah, you got to have an iron heart to live in there. But the fact that we're, us, for example, we're in America, or a country like America, the fact that we can even have this discussion, and I can go outside. I'm going to go to the gym later, have a leg day, and I'm going to go to H-E-B. So many people can't.
Just like the basics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another thing, always have numerous hobbies that are lucrative. But like you were talking about how the R.B.F. That's great. A great acronym. I'm going to use that now. But the R.B.F. Employee at the grocery store, you said, you are working for a conglomerate company, if it's like H-E-B or something like that, Walmart or whatever, but you are supplying food to one or a whole family or an event. Who knows? And what is the number one thing that we must have? Other than water, it is food. We must have sustenance and resources. So you're aiding in that person's development and their health and their life and their future. If you work at a Walmart or whatnot, they have an electronics department. Somebody buys a laptop, buys equipment to start their life. Yeah. You checked them out. You helped them. They could not walk out of there without you checking them out. Unless you're a thief, but. But yeah, it's just life.
I think most people don't see it that way. Mm-hmm. They don't, because that's us being like extremely optimistic and like picking out, which we should be doing, because what you focus on is what, it's like the law of attraction. What you focus on, you bring more of. So, but I just think in general, most people, they're just like, they look at like the actual act of doing it as just like,
a job like that is monotonous. It is very tedious. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I was a bagger at a bagger at an Albertsons once, and then I worked at a Walgreens. It's robot work, but it's still a job. Yeah. You're a cog in the machine that makes everything run in our society.
I think there's still something to be grateful for, though, too, because if you didn't have that job, you wouldn't be getting money to survive, Yeah. Everything always has some sort of purpose behind it.
It does. And that person that was just hating her life or his life at that grocery store, she most likely has that job, even though she doesn't like it. She has that job because she couldn't get anything else. So the other jobs that she would have gotten, she would have hated even more. So, not to be a cornball, you're being too optimistic. Think of it like that.
Fine,
break it down.
Yeah.
Have mental gymnastics with yourself. It'll help kill the time, help the ship go high faster. It's like, hey, why am I here? What's my purpose? What am I doing? And I love it whenever, because I always make sure I go through the register with a human being. I don't like self-checkout. I always try to start up some kind of conversation.
Interaction.
Yeah, just to get out.
See, that's the
out of that
extrovert
robot
side
mode,
of you. That's the extrovert side of you. Because me, if I have a lot of things, like if I have like 20 or more items, I'll go through it. But if I have like 10 items, I'm gonna just go self-checkout. But that's like the difference.
Oh no, I need that.
Like always, even if you have one item.
Yeah. Well, I haven't. No, you're right. I just haven't. This is way too personal, but I haven't really been in a relationship in a while. Me and my ex, we broke up.
Like a deep, like
a deep, meaningful relationship.
Passionate.
And I don't have my parents anymore, so I don't have anybody to help. I don't have anyone to help me produce oxytocin. And oxytocin,
the bond,
is called the cuddle hormone, and it's something that a lot of people don't get enough of. A lot of people will become very angry, cynical, pessimistic, negative.
And sometimes
damaging.
all they need is a hug.
All they need is a ding dang hug.
Ding.
Yeah. Well, there was that during the there was a guy that was posting videos on YouTube. And he would go into protests and stuff, and like it'd be getting crazy with the cops and the protesters and stuff like that, or whatever the issue is. And he'd just walk up to random people, whether it be someone in the crowd or a cop, and just, hey, give me a hug. And a lot of times it worked. It really helped. It really helped the situation a lot.
No, I've seen like other content creators. Like on like TikTok and like YouTube Shorts, they have and these actually went viral. Like there's some that went like millions of views, where they just walk in like a crowded street and just say have like a hobo sign, kind of like a cardboard sign, where it's just like, if you need a hug, I'll give you one for free.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Like free hugs.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hugs.
That's
and
cool.
Just. Some people will end up crying, they're just
oh yeah,
it's exactly what you said. Some people just need a ding dang hug.
Yeah, we really do. And us being men,
vulnerable.
We have hormones we have to keep balanced as well, and we need oxytocin, we need to be touched, we need consolement. We need, we're human.
We're human.
Yeah, we're human beings. We don't need to be coddled.
Yeah.
But we need people to be there for us. That's why it's so imperative to have a good woman.
No, I was actually talking about that. I think with my brother, but you always see some of the most successful people, and in interviews they're just I couldn't have done this without my supportive wife.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't have done it or I don't know where I'd be without her. And it's and it's true, because I think, I don't want to go too deep into this, but I do believe in gender roles, and that's kind of what your significant other is there for.
That's why the nuclear family is so important.
Yeah, to support you.
You work off of each other.
Yeah, to support you when you don't. To support you even when you're down, even when you're when you feel like giving up, and you have a very supportive significant other, whether it be male or female, whatever, that believes in you when you don't believe in yourself.
Very true. And I was blessed personally, again, talking about my parents, because they were opposite ends of the social spectrum, and the way that they viewed the world. But they would never interrupt each other. They'd get into arguments, of course. But whenever I'd ask them a question that was pretty complicated about life or the world, they wouldn't interrupt each other. And
Existential questions.
yeah. I was a very curious kid. I watched Don Bluth cartoons over Disney cartoons, so I always questioned things. I knew that there was a rough world out there. It's not all cupcakes and rainbows. It is a crazy world out there. That's why people like Jordan Peterson, I really like whenever he talks about like make sure that you have a monster, and then you become a monster, and then be able to control that monster. So, for example, my music, a lot of people will be like, Cullen, you're such a happy-go-lucky and you couldn't hurt a fly type individual. Why are you listening to Slayer? Why do you have so much Pantera? Why do you have all this like devil worship stuff and all this crazy music? I have music from all ends of the spectrum.
Same.
I'll listen to Slayer,
Me too.
But then I'll listen to Enya. And then I'll go into Sarah Brightman, and then I'll go into B.B. King, and then I'll go into Queen. And then
Oh no, I'm the same.
And then I'll go into Mongolian throat singing.
I think music actually is a reflection of how open your mind is.
Exactly.
I think people who have a wide range of music, like me and you, I could do the same exact thing. Like I grew up not raised, but I grew up listening to mainly like rock, punk, screamo, metal, the Slayers.
Oh yeah.
I grew up just focused on that, but then like as I started to get older and listening to like a wider range of things, I think honestly music is a reflection of how wide your mind is.
Oh yeah.
Like people who only like, nah man, I only listen to rap. Like, okay, to me that indicates like, okay, you're more closed-minded.
Mm-hmm. You're only one genre. You're right. I've known numerous people that only listen to country music. For example, they think everything else is trash.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like, bro, I think a lot of modern country is trash. It's just corny rock and roll, basically. But I do listen to it. There is some great artists out there. But when it comes to country, as Hank Williams Sr., Roger Miller, Jerry Reed, Bobby Bear, because the old country artists will tell you stories.
They sing in stories.
And a lot of their other songs are heartbreak, I'm going to go to a bar and drink myself stupid songs.
The like popular ones.
Yeah, like emotional music. Yeah. So it was emotional music that men could turn to. Yeah. And the thing about rap and metal and stuff like that is that, and we've been on a positive kick. And I'm not saying that you have to be negative, but back to the monster thing is you need to embrace your ego. You need to understand that you have an ego for a reason. It's for protection, self-defense, to control emotions like anger, and be able to confidence. Yeah, definitely confidence. But I guess all that harder music is my ego coming out. It's me feeding my ego. Because when I listen, I'm not gonna go into the gym and listen to Beethoven. I'm gonna wanna put on some Slipknot. I'm gonna wanna put on
get your energy going.
Yeah, I wanna put on some Minor Threat or something that's just in your face. I wanna put on some dubstep or some rhythm music. I mean that rhythm stuff. It's like really hard dubstep. Wow, wow, wow. It is crazy.
Just like frequencies.
Yes, but. We were talking whenever you were showing me that DJ. You're talking about the drop.
Yeah.
The drops on rhythm music is full of nothing but bass, and it just drives you in the gym. Oh, it's great. I love it. But I don't even think it's a term. But I always like to consider myself a multiculturalist. Like I've always been extremely intrigued and interested in other cultures.
Same.
So I think the main reason why is because of their music. Like their music is awesome. Like there's this tribe in Africa called the Ziauli, and they're famous because they have these videos where they have these events where these people will dress up and they look like deities or gods, and it's cool, and they'll move their feet so
like a rhythm.
Fast to a rhythm. It is incredible. Zowli with the Z. I mean, it is one of the cooler things you'll ever see a human do.
I think that goes back to our human nature and like need for, because I see that as like a creative outlet and something that's also like maybe purpose driven, because like you see that and then you like ask like, why are you doing that? And it's like they're doing it for a reason, you know.
Very true.
And I think it just makes them happy, or I don't know why they do it, but I think it's just another part of human nature.
That's why quotes in movies stick to you and motivate you. Spoken word, deaf poetry. Back to Stephen King, Ernest Hemingway, J.R.R. Tolkien, J.K. Rowling. All these stories, all these stories that are incredible. I mean, you can put yourself in with so many of those characters. It's incredible. It's like me personally, like Lord of the Rings. I mean, one of the coolest characters ever to me in any story is Samwise Gamgee, the best friend of Frodo, the main protagonist to take the ring to Mordor to destroy it. Samwise gets so much shit.
Was he the one that was kind of chunkier?
Yes.
He does it?
Yeah. I mean, he goes through so much stuff. I mean, Frodo actually trusts Gollum over him at one point. But he stands true no matter what adversity. His own best friend was like, get out of my face. And Samwise was still there. I mean,
Loyalty.
Yes, loyalty.
He symbolized loyalty.
And he was, he was very low confidence before the journey, before the adventure started.
I remember,
And I remember at the end of the trilogy, he asked the girl out that he always wanted to ask out. And of course, she said yes, and they get married and have 1 million kids. So I thought that was just awesome. Samwise Gamgee is one of the more inspirational characters ever to me, when in a fictional sense.
Yeah. I love that's like my family always says I'm like, my love is like cold, or it's like, I guess because I'm just like naturally stoic, I guess.
That's a good trait to have.
I don't know, but my entire family describes my love as like cold, like like you love us, but you're like, you don't show it too much. And I think for me, music and films, like really good films, like you said, Lord of the Rings, those music and films are like the two things that really bring my emotions like boiling over. Like they're the things that can actually make me cry. Whereas like if something happens, I won't cry. I'll like hold it in or do something. But then if I like watch a movie and it reminds me of like that sad moment, I'll just let it out.
That's a big part of it. I mean, nostalgia. I mean, it's very important. I don't know if this is good advice or not, but I personally live by this. I don't think that you should solely live in the past. Some people say don't keep the past in the past. Always look forward.
No, you need to reflect.
You need to reflect on the past and learn your lesson.
Yeah.
Back to
because if you keep the past in the past and you never learn from it, then you're stuck.
That's why history is so important.
Yeah.
I think that we should in grade school and stuff like that, we should have a lot more history-based classes. I mean, we have a ton of English and science and math class. I mean, tons of math classes. Math is very important, but history is whoa. I mean, you got to know it so that we don't repeat it. I mean,
and actually tell the real history.
And talk about the real history. And talk about heroes. I mean, there's a reason why people obsess over the Roman Empire and World War II and all that kind of Alexander. Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, I was watching a video on Shaka Zulu and Alexander the Great. Genghis Khan. I mean, they just all those people. Hannibal, with the big old elephants. I mean, it's insane what people did back then. I'm not calling them heroes, but
the amount they accomplished,
what they did
in a short amount of time.
It was incredible. History is gray. It's not black or white. I am not calling them great people. I am not calling them terrible people. I'm just saying that what they did, whoa. I mean,
imagine doing that today. Like, it's
and a good portion of, Genghis Khan was such a he was such a womanizer.
Seed.
Yeah, he's such a womanizer. He loved women, but his genetics are still in the world today. That's powerful. That's power.
Yeah, they say like something like 1 out of every 1,000 men or something has his DNA.
It's insane.
Because the reason is not necessarily because he slept with so many women, but because the world population at the time was like in the millions. It wasn't even like in the billions yet. So that it's like exponential growth from that. Like if you only had Adam and Eve, everyone's related to Adam and Eve. So the less people there was like in the world population, that's why it's like 1 out of every 1,000.
Wow, it is incredible. Man,
he literally spread his seed.
He loved the women. He loved them. That's insane. But like Henry VIII. I mean, he had numerous all those Renaissance period kings. They had so many queens.
Have a boy or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That was like his whole story, right?
Yeah. I mean,
and then he would like behead them if they didn't or something.
Oh yeah. Well, there was
if they didn't have it like the first time or something.
I can't remember her name, but there's a famous historical figure that was married to Henry VIII. And she did not go with the protocols, and she ended up being.
They would put them on the pikes. They would literally put their heads on the pikes or something, right?
Whew, yeah.
That's so crazy. Like, that's just more of a reason to be grateful for the time that we're in today.
Well, I know that there was a time in Haiti where the Haitians, they would put people's heads on pikes and stuff like that. And of course, what the things that cartels do around the world. I mean, it comes to torture and stuff like that. Even militaries, I could imagine being waterboarded. But there's still terrible stuff that happens today. But yeah, there's no torture devices. There's no guillotine. None of that stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's like in common practice, like it was back in the day. That was like, oh, who's going the pikes today?
Exactly.
Exactly. Like you'd go outdoor and be like, oh, like that was my friend.
I mean, you never know.
Like
you literally never know. I mean, the guy who created the AK-47, Kalishnikov, I can't remember his name, but he said that was one of his bigger regrets.
Creating it.
Yeah, and then the Nobel Prize, Alfred Nobel, he invented TNT. He invented dynamite. So it's crazy. That's another reason why you should
Albert Einstein. He helped create the atom bomb or whatever.
Right? He actually didn't want to take part in that. He wasn't a member of the Manhattan Project, from what I remember. That was led by Robert Oppenheimer.
Oh, that was the movie? I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I want to see it, but
yeah, there's a lot of stars in it.
But it's like that, yeah. You helped create something that could literally like destroy countries.
Oh yeah. He Einstein had a lot to do with the atom, but the reason why he left Germany was because they wanted him to aid in bomb making projects. And he didn't. And he was like, no way. They actually had a.
See, that's like that moral conscience.
From what I heard, he skipped town to America because they were trying to off him. Because he was a very important figure, but he was refusing to work with the party. So so he got out of there. He's one of them. It's very scary to think what the world would have been like if he would have been like, oh yeah, I'll help you guys, and stayed in Germany. Or if they would have offed him, it would have been horrible to have our history with
Would have
that
been changed,
void.
yeah.
Because what he did for us, E equals MC squared and all that kind of stuff, I mean, it's incredible what he did for us when it came to mathematics. And I mean, it's just insane. Just like Stephen Hawking with astrology and stuff like that. He was a very smart man.
He's literally like, he's like the embodiment of like inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, you have no excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Like you literally you only have your lips or like your little fingers to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
and yet you still did so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like nobody has excuses. Like it's like, okay, look at Stephen Hawking. It's like, what's your excuse?
Yeah, I mean he had he had a total disfigurement. He was completely handicapped. He didn't take his life. He died on his own merit. I mean, from his debilitating disease.
Mm-hmm.
From I forget what it was called, but
I think it's cerebral palsy.
cerebral palsy. Thank you.
It's like your whole body's basically paralyzed.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that. And such a great mind, but he was still able to keep that mind and spread his ideas until he passed away. Even even people like Carl Sagan and Milton Friedman and even Neil deGrasse Tyson. I mean, they have things that someone might disagree with, but overall they are intelligent people. Mm-hmm. So you wanna hear them out over the average person. Yeah, they take the time to do the research. And if they're wrong, prove them wrong. Well, if somebody else that's just as smart or whatnot or has the facts, prove them wrong. But for the most part, I will respect their IQ. I will respect them on that aspect. Just like Giannis Antetokounmpo on a basketball court. If I walk on a basketball court, that dude is going to school me. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to get 2 dribbles from that guy. Have you seen him? Giannis Antetokounmpo?
I don't know.
Talk about a motivating and an inspirational story. At one point, I believe in Greece, he was homeless, him and his brothers. Now, he is an NBA champion, multi-all-star, probably going to most likely be a Hall of Famer. And, I mean, it's an incredible turnaround.
Those are like the best types of stories.
Oh, yeah. Homeless to arguably the most popular basketball player in the world right now.
That's like a rags to riches.
Other than Stephen Curry and LeBron James, Giannis is the guy everybody's talking about. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's Luka and there's the Joker, there's Butler and people like that, but Giannis Antetokounmpo really is a special, and you can tell from the way that he plays. He's not extra rough or anything, but you can just tell that he's been through some stuff.
Really?
Yeah. You can just kind of, I don't know what it is, because I've watched basketball my whole life. I watched the Anthony Masons and the Charles Oakleys and the Dennis Rodmans. And, those guys, there's a reason why they had a chip on their shoulder, because they'd been through some stuff. Isaiah Thomas. I'm a big NBA guy. Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons. He, I believe he watched one of his brothers drink himself to death right in front of him. And then I mean, he lost another brother to drugs or gang life or something. He had a really, really hard upbringing. Ends up becoming arguably the greatest point guard in NBA history. I mean, that guy he would destroy you on the court. On defense and
going
offense.
through stuff, I think it gives people, like, if you go through something hard and you don't let it get the best of you,
you can turn it into a superpower.
Yeah, I think you literally, like, it's like you have that stored up energy, and you use it to drive like your purpose or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Being able to fight against the negative things in your mind and in the world around you, if you can fight those battles and continue to fight the battles, that's literally a superpower. It's just like an MCU movie. Like when every superhero has tons of adversities.
Oh, they like go
tons of adversities. A lot of heroes are
Spider-Man. Like, yeah.
He was the nerd of nerds. Couldn't get the girl he wanted. His aunt was it for him. Lost his uncle, but he still kept going. He knew what he was good at with his intelligence.
Yeah.
He stuck to it and dropped out of school and everything, getting into drugs,
Yeah.
you know? And then, so whenever he got bit by that spider, that is a fictional way of telling us that when you defeat adversity, you become so much stronger.
Like you that could be like a cue to like go even harder.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The whatever you call it, the Rock. The Rock blew his leg out whenever he was playing at the University of Miami. Because he was probably going to be in the NFL. And then he blew his leg out. What does he do? He goes into WWF and dominates.
He followed his
he goes into bodybuilding and dominates. I mean, he's not like Mr. Olympia or anything, but when it comes to building his body, everyone knows The Rock. He's a household name. And when it comes to The Rock,
That's
his
crazy,
body,
yeah.
and that comes with motivation. I mean, some other stuff too, but you know, it is very inspiring seeing people like that, because you still have to put in the work. And he blew his leg out and he didn't give up. He still stayed on the path and still had a successful career through being physical. He mended and rehabbed his leg, and then was being thrown around by The Undertaker and by Stone Cold Steve Austin and those wrestlers, Triple H, people like that. I would not want to be body slammed by them.
No, I recently listened to a Joe Rogan episode with Hulk Hogan.
No way.
And Hulk Hogan said he has so many like aches and creaks and pains and from like over a decade of WWE like that.
That's why they get so
slammed and like even though it like looks fake, like fucking.
Well, that's why they'll never. That's why Vince McMahon and a lot of wrestlers, they'll never admit that it's fake, and they'll actually get upset when asked if it's fake, because they put in so much hard work.
They still get
they literally
thrown
sacrifice. Yeah, they really are getting thrown around.
Yeah,
but like the punches are held back.
It's not like a full-on UFC punch.
If so, these matches would last 13, 14, 15 seconds. You know,
it's just dramatized.
Yeah, we saw that with people like CM Punk. Whenever he went to the UFC, it did not work out too well. Brock Lesnar, though, he transitioned from the WWF or WWE to the UFC, and he dominated, but that's just because of sheer size.
That man had like those
sheer size and strength.
He had that fucking turtle shell back.
Yeah.
His fucking shark head.
Because in the wild kingdom, in the animal world, when it comes to hierarchy, it's all about size and strength. If you are bigger and stronger, you will not be fucked with as much, and you will most likely win all battles. You will not have predators. That's why, you know, hippos, Nile crocodiles, lions, Siberian tigers.
There's always like an alpha. There's always that alpha that's like
alpha.
The giant freaking take your woman and kids.
And that's why masculinity.
That's literally what they do. They like so much of these like alpha creatures. That's literally what they do. They fight to be the new to be the new baby daddy.
Oh yeah, in like with gorillas and lions and stuff like that. When the new alpha moves in, he has dibs on all the women or on all the females. And if those females have offspring, they usually get killed.
I mean, it makes sense
to start his lineage.
It makes sense from like a natural selection thing.
There's
it's
a
like
lot of natural selection in the wild kingdom.
Want the best genes. So the best genes are the one that could dominate.
Yeah, there's numerous cases of bird species that will feed one bird over the others a lot more so because they feel like that's going to be the one that actually makes it. A lot of... And one thing that is tough to deal with in the animal world is that, you know, a lot of the offspring are usually the main source of food. Yeah, so...
There's actually I followed... I seen a TikTok of something that reminded me of that. There was this like some chick, I don't know who it is, but she found a neglected like runt, I think cougar, or like the black one, panther or something.
Cool.
And it was like tiny, like it looked like a normal like kitten. And then like as time went on and she like nursed it back to health, it ended up being like a giant her pet cougar. And it actually just it acts like a normal cat and everything, but
that's insane.
she had found it like just neglected and left. So that
I think I saw that same video.
yeah, she's like went viral. Like
yeah, that's an incredible looking creature. So majestic. Talk about stoicism. I feel like all those major, especially the big cat species, they're always just, they just have an aura about them. They know exactly what they're doing. Like a Marcus Aurelius, one of the Roman emperors. He was always one of my favorite people to always go back to. He has just pages and pages of famous quotes and stuff like that. He was one of the better leaders in
his
human
story
history.
is crazy.
Until Commodus took over after his death and brought back Colosseum, and it kind of hurt the economy for a while. There was a big. I mean, most of the Roman emperors were not too good at people. Elagabalus, Nero, Commodus, all those, not very good leaders. But Marcus Aurelius, there's a reason why that name still gets brought up, just like Aristotle and people like in those times.
Well, his story is crazy because we wouldn't even know it if he didn't write it down. Because that's where they got it from. It was like the old school version of creating, of like documenting and stuff, was literally all of his like stories and like lessons he wrote down throughout his life, and they publicized it, and that's why we know of it.
I know history is so ridiculously important, and I'm so glad that these people did write it down, because supposedly, like you said, who writes the history as well. They say that all the documentation that we've been able to obtain and get and gather on Christopher Columbus was written by his adversary. Someone who didn't even like
was against him.
Yeah. So of course they're going to write things to make him not be looked good and villainize him. There, that's a good way to put it. So if that's true, but it's why you do your own research.
That's why I believe in like doing stuff like this, because you get to hear like from the source, and that's why one of my like dreams in life is to like write my own book about like kind of like a memoir, but like also lessons. And I think everyone should do it, because like it's like, even if it doesn't like become bestseller or whatever, it's part of like something you could leave behind when you're not here physically anymore.
Exactly. Like I know this sounds a little corny, but it is in my bucket list to have a time capsule, to make a time capsule. Have you ever heard of that?
Like you put stuff in it.
You get like a chest or something that can last a while,
like mementos,
and then you say do not open until the year so and so, and it's far in the future, and it's just things that you would want people from the future to see of the past. I mean, we've been doing it for generations.
Someone did that.
I would love to do that.
Someone did that for space. Like someone like launched like something in for
extraterrestrials to catch it.
Yeah, like a Coca-Cola bottle, like something that like depicts like human life. Like I think it was like a Coca-Cola bottle or something, and like it had like a note like this is like what we drink or something, and they just like like shot it into space for whoever to find if they.
That's incredible.
It's crazy. Right?
Yeah, NASA, those goofballs.
But I want to
with back to writing.
Yeah.
Is you don't have to straight up write. You can just make like you said, a memoir. Matthew McConaughey a year or two ago, he just came out. He came out with a memoir, and it was a top seller. He talk about somebody who's gone through some stuff. I mean, he's a revered and loved celebrity, but we don't know what he went through, and people only see
the highlights,
the perseverance of an individual and what they persevered through. Like, oh my gosh, look at that successful person. How did they get there? There's no possible way. It was all handed to them. Yeah. And in some aspects, it might be for certain people, but you don't think about those kind of people. Because they have their, like we talked about earlier, they're always going to have their own issues. But I always recommend having some kind of a notebook with you at all times. Like, for example, I don't like to write stuff, but it makes me feel good writing semi-notes and semi-facts about my product.
Voice record.
Voice record sounds awesome too. Yeah. I actually have a friend that does that. He literally wakes up and records himself just talking about whatever's on his mind for like a minute. And then at night, he'll listen to it. It's just a thing he's been doing since he was a kid. Of course, he used to have a tape recorder. Now he just uses his phone. It's technology. But little things like that.
But yeah, I do want to lead into...
Of course.
From when after you got out of the Air Force, and then to now, what you went through, or like the highlight of what you went through, and then how you got into starting your own product.
Okay, so yeah, I got out, and I'm a native Austinite, so I moved. I was mainly stationed in Bragg in North Carolina, and then I moved back here in 2011. I got a gig with a moving company, and then I worked road crew for my dad's band, and then I worked at an elementary school, like an after-school program, and then I ended up having a few more hours where I would stay the last couple of hours of the school day and be a TA, a teacher's assistant. So that was really cool. Excuse me. But I did that for about 8 months or so, and then my dad, who was diagnosed with kidney failure, and he had heart damage and just a lot of issues with him. The life of rock and roll got caught up with him.
What band was he in again?
Johnny D and the Rocket 88s.
Johnny D.
Yeah, they were great. So bands like the Spasmatics, like the cover groups where they'll dress up and they'll have themes and do a certain generation of music. That's what they did with the 50s and 60s. They would dress up like Buddy Holly, Diana Ross, the Blues Brothers. My dad would do the whole Elvis gig because he had a great Elvis voice. I mean, they would go wireless mic, and he would sit on girls' laps and sing songs to them. Elvis, it was cool. It was very cool stuff.
Oh yeah, because you grew up seeing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I looked up at my dad, and I would look around the crowds and people obsessing over my dad, and people, I love you so much in public stuff, and people would recognize him. It made me feel not inferior, but it made me feel like there's no way I'm up to par with this guy. Growing up, yeah, and I really do think that was a big contributor to me being so down on myself.
Because you
and
compared
me being
yourself.
so susceptible to being bullied and stuff like that. But now that I'm grown up, and I've been able to take those time and think about it, that was very stupid of me. It was very stupid of me to think that way, because now he's gone, and that was a big thing that because everybody always has a path, and no matter what, just like whenever you're on a road trip, you're not going to take the same road the whole way. I know I-35 spans almost to Canada, but I mean, most people are not just going to take I-35 all the way. You're going to take different paths.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no interest in health at all. I didn't even know what vitamin C was. I knew it was something that prevented you from getting sick because it was in the emergencies that you were given as a kid.
Yeah.
Remember those? Those,
Yeah.
those were actually pretty tasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, after he passed, I was irresponsible, and I just went out on a inebriation, just
A binger.
yeah. And I got DWI, and I got immediately fired from school. I quit the moving position, and I was continuing to do the band because they wanted to. They changed the band from Johnny D and the Rocket 88s to Johnny D's Rocket 88s. So they kind of continued touring a little bit afterwards. So that was a good way to make some money, and they're like family to me. I've known these band members my whole life. Then I blew out my leg. I tore my MCL playing a game of pickup. It really stings because I got him with that Elijah Wan shake like 2 times in a row, that fadeaway. And man, the shimmy shake. Oh yeah. And I would Euro step like Ginobili, and this guy was, we were back and forth talking, and I was like, you know what? Next time, if I get a pick, I'm going straight for the hole. We'll dunk on you. And I did my Euro, and when I pressed on my left leg, it just slipped a little bit because it was outdoor court. It was a little bit of gravel and dirt, and I tore my MCL, and I didn't responsibly rehab it. So it still messes with me to this day. But of course, you can't be physical after that. So I couldn't do the road gig anymore, and I couldn't do the moving gig anymore. So my mom was like, "Hey, I go and get my vitamins at this place called GNC. You want me to see if I can get you a job?" Okay. It set me up with an interview with the owner, and he gave me a job. I got a composition notebook, and I just went from one end of the store to the other, and I would turn it over, and if I didn't recognize an ingredient, I would write it down and then look it up on my phone. Or we have these, what I would call nutritional Bibles. We had these huge nutrition books that would just had you knew.
Like summaries of them.
Oh, yeah. And it was cool because it was written in elementary sense, like in layman's terms.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it didn't go over your head. Like college books and stuff like a lot of those books, it tries.
Like too
it
technical.
Seems like it on purpose is confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got into that, and then I just became obsessed with it. There was a guy that was working there, Corey, who's a friend to this day, and he was a bodybuilder / state swimmer. Like he was like a big, awesome swimmer in high school, and he was really into bodybuilding. And he even had the DNA strand of testosterone tattooed on his biceps. So he was about that life, like the way I would watch and obsess over the NBA basketball. He did it on supplements and vitamins and minerals and things that happened in your body. So this guy and he's my mentor for my supplement. I couldn't have done it without him. But he's very knowledgeable, and on top of that, he was just huge. He would never have a trouble selling anything because it was pure size. But whenever he was asked questions, he was ridiculously intelligent when it came to that category. And so I everything happens for a reason. Like we were talking about earlier, whether you're religious or not, things are thrown in front of you. Take advantage of it. Because if I would have just thought of GNC as a job just to pay the bills for 6 months to a year, and then I just got another job at HEB or Costco or something, it wouldn't have worked. And if I would have done that, I would have found side hobbies like we were talking about earlier. But I'm so glad that I stuck with this, because the fountain of youth is going to have things. Because I abused drugs, alcohol, and stuff like that at an earlier age. And that stuff can really harm the organs. Your stomach lining, your bowel movements. You have bowels that can actually die in your body. And when you have bowels that go out and they stop working and they die, your digestive system, it plummets. Your metabolism plummets.
You mean like when you say when your bowels die, you mean like the bacteria within? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bad, and your your liver.
I dealt with that.
Oh yeah, you had to have a surgery, didn't you?
I had to get the freaking tubes, man.
Yeah,
I had to get the tubes up my freaking butt and my mouth, and not the same tube. 2 different tubes. I had to fast for like 3.5 days. It was like 72 plus hours, and then it was all because of a blockage. Like they said I had a waste blockage in my, I think, small intestine. Wow. And nothing could, it was like things that would like just think of it as like a tube that has a freaking piece of trash in the middle. And like anything you eat is just piling back up. So every time I would eat, it happened for a month straight. Every time I would eat, I would get like horrible aches and pains, and then I didn't crap solid for a month. It was just straight water every time. And then I finally went and they did an x-ray and they seen the freaking ball blockage in my intestine, and they gave me like the max dose freaking laxative.
Oh man.
And
a whole bunch of senna.
Yeah, and then once they gave me that, I think it was like magnesium something.
Oh yeah. Chelate? I can't remember which one, but there's a form of magnesium that really aids in digestion.
They gave me that, and that same time they told me to fast too. And then they ended up not finding anything. It was like, it was probably just the blockage.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but from then, that moment, now I can't eat like bananas or like avocados. They really like, I think I lost some of my bowels died. Some of my bacteria that processes those, like, I guess like healthily or like whatever, like without feeling pain, those died out. So now it's like every time I eat bananas or like avocados, I get like an upset stomach or like feel nauseous or something, because like that killed some of my bacteria, healthy bacteria.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, it was horrible, man.
Solid stools now?
Yeah, I couldn't. This was like during COVID, but I remember going to work and like I couldn't even like, cause it would get triggered as soon as I like eat something.
Oh.
Like every I would like eat a snack or something, I would have to run to the freaking toilet and it would just be water or like nothing. So yeah, it was.
No, thank
you. It was
you.
not fun, man.
Oof. Well, I've always been a preacher of fiber. Just eat a lot of fiber. I always try to have something that's high in fiber every third or fourth time I eat, because I eat 8, 10, 15 times a day, just constant. So I have a jackrabbit metabolism, which I'm blessed with. I mean, it's a blessing / curse is what I always say, because I always want to gain weight, but I'm glad that I don't have to work. I'm glad that I don't have it stick in areas. There are people that have, whether it be a thyroid issue or low metabolism or just their diet or lifestyle, they can't get enough sleep or they just sit down all day. They're at a desk. That's just, it's all going to go in the storage area. That's tough.
So what is the Fountain of You, and when do you expect it to be on the market?
So I am starting, I got the label done, and I'm starting the manufacturing process probably in the next week or so. Kagan, the guy that I'm working with a company called Master Blends, they said that it should be, I should be able to get my first order, which is just 288 I'm starting with. Because there were other companies that were like, yeah, we'll do a minimum of 1,200. Whoa, what?
Then you need to
That's
buy
a
that.
lot.
Yeah.
And, if there's something that I made a mistake on or something like that, 288, that's not too many that I'm stuck
to
with.
redo it,
yes. Because Corey even admitted, because he has his own supplement company, he even admitted that he's had to change a whole bunch of his supplements from the first time around. So it's good to have a minimum first order. But again, I have studied all 4 of these things. They're 4 of my favorite things in GNC. It has anti-aging qualities, things to rejuvenate the liver, things to aid in digestive health, things to enhance your mitochondria, which are the cells that operate you from head to toe, things for radiant, glowing skin. It actually can help with fine lines and wrinkles. It has a lot of nootropic benefits as well for the brain. Lion's mane is in there, and lion's mane is thanks to Paul Stammet, and going on that Joe Rogan in that session with Joe Rogan, Paul Stammet, he talked about how lion's mane can really help with your cognition, short-term, long-term memory, any kind of OCD symptoms, forms of depression, stuff like that. It can help with all of that because lion's mane stimulates neurotransmitter production, mainly in places like the frontal cortex, which motivates you to do things. It makes you want to be productive. It makes you want to do something.
It's like kind of like dopamine.
It's a little hard to explain, but people that are on lion's mane, you'll know what I'm talking about. And this stuff is good, and I use it in. And I'm using a form with polysaccharides where it will be absorbed a lot easier. So I'm not gonna. So 600 milligrams is a great amount. I also have a full gram of moringa. It's extracted from the leaf, and the moringa is a superfood detoxifier. Just like it's just like broccoli or cauliflower or a green vegetable or something with a ton of phytonutrients. It has so many vitamins, electrolytes, antioxidant properties, rejuvenatory properties. It's just out of this world what it does for you. A lot of other countries will put it in their tea, but it's becoming. Yeah. It's just now. I'm seeing some advertising. I'm glad that I'm coming out with this product now because moringa is definitely going to trend. It's going to trend a lot in the coming years. Just like mushrooms. I mean, mushrooms are everywhere now. People
mushroom
love
tea, mushroom coffee,
the reishi, the maitake, the turkey tail. But the lion's mane is my favorite, and I feel like I wanted to incorporate those 4 ingredients because each one will do things all over the body. Lion's mane also has digestive benefits to it. Alpha lipoic acid, mainly extracted from foods like sweet potatoes, is one of your core antioxidants to prevent you from getting sick, cleans out your blood. It also aids in the natural production of coenzyme 10 or CoQ10, which is a good protector of the heart. You also have, and ALA also has, there's been studies that have said it helps with your hair growth, helps with your skin, by helping produce hyaluronic acid naturally. That's great for keeping the skin lubricated. Whenever you have a lot of natural, and your joints, so it helps with inflammation. You have a lot of hyaluronic acid in your skin, and it stays lubricated, it's not going to be able to dry up. When it dries up, so whenever you start wrinkling, that's the aging process. That's why it's literally an anti-ager. And then you have NAC, N-acetylcysteine, and when you have a drug overdose or alcohol poisoning or whatnot, and you go to the ER, first thing they do is stick you with an IV of NAC. NAC immediately rejuvenates cell production in your liver, which is, people always talk about the brain and the heart, very, very important, but the liver is right there with them. It really is.
It's like your filter, like your your body's like detoxifying filter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it has to work its butt off, even if you have a good diet. I mean, it works. It's a worker. So you want to take care of it. And given time, it always has the potential to rejuvenate itself. And NAC will help with that. It helps with overall liver health. And it protects and helps with overall health of your kidneys. NAC, I've been taking ALA and NAC every morning for about 7 years. 600 milligrams. You can take more a day. I just do 600 milligrams each on an empty stomach. I haven't even had a hard sneeze. And I've always been the type of person that averages about 1 to 2 mega illnesses a year. I'll just out of nowhere just get super sick about once or twice a year. I thought it was normal. But no, you have a strong enough immune system, you can fight off anything.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I welcome, and if I do get sick, let's do it. I'm down for that. I'm down for that Osmosis Jones battle inside my body.
I get sick more often because of my kids.
Oh yeah,
They go to school and they spread all kinds of.
Well, do you take NAC and ALA?
I only take NAC when if I drank or something.
Oh yeah,
or if I planned on drinking, if I plan on drinking and after, I'll do it as like a before and after.
Oh okay, yeah, charcoal is really good too. Yeah, a lot of people will take NAC for drinking, the liver, of course.
It's like a safeguard.
Yeah, and also one cool thing that I learned about NAC, a little side thing, is if you ever get sunburned, it has a lot of skin benefits and it aids in sunburn. You don't have to put it on topically, you ingest it and it will aid in the healing process of sunburns. So I thought that was kind of interesting, especially after this Texas summer we just dealt with. That was good.
That was rough.
Yeah, it's crazy. These people that move into Austin, this is crazy. It's so hot. Yeah, this is good old Texas summer. We've been kind of privileged a little bit and spoiled a little bit the last few summers with being a little wet, a little cooler than it normally is. But yeah, this past summer, it's good. It was nothing like Iraq though. When I was over there, got 110, 115. I mean, it would get so hot.
Yeah, it's like
and then
dry.
It was dry, and we were in full gear all the time.
Oh yeah.
We'd have sandstorms all the time. We had to wrap ourselves because if that sand hit your skin, it'd get you.
It's like scratchy.
But my product is 4 capsules a day, so you can take 1 per meal or throughout the day, or you can take them all at one time, or you can 2 and 2, which is something that I usually do to keep it going throughout the day. Just have 2 after breakfast, then 2 in my late morning or early afternoon meal, lunch. So, because I don't ever consider breakfast, lunch, or dinner because I just eat sporadically throughout the day.
I naturally intermittent fast.
That's great.
That's like I don't eat until I get really hungry.
About noon or 1.
Yeah, that's usually when it happens.
Intermittent fasting is great.
And I just naturally do it. Like I just have a morning coffee and some water, and then I'll work out, and then I just don't eat until I get hungry, and then I'll just have 1 or 2 big meals.
I'll have about 8 to 10 small snacks type meals, and then I'll have I try to have 3 to 5 meals a day, and it's so crazy that I'm only 202 pounds, but I've gotten myself up to 218, so I know I can get a little bit of size. My ultimate goal is about 235, even though people keep on telling me that's too much. But
I don't think so. I think everybody has a natural limit, and I think you could get. I don't think that's your limit. You could definitely get.
To get that kind of size,
there's people your size that are 300 plus pounds.
Yeah.
Like, you could definitely do that.
Yeah, you're right about that. But with this knee and everything, I wouldn't want to put too much more pressure on it. But yeah, this supplement is something that the main demographic that I'm going to push is, older, getting up there in age, and women. Because, men of course, but women always, they want to maintain that youth as long as possible. And it really does help with the whole aging process. I mean, there are things in there that will actually slow down the aging process of your brain. I mean, it's incredible. I love all four of those things. Hopefully, they keep on talking about how NAC they're trying to make it prescription only, but that's been years. I don't think it's going to happen. And if there was any high chance of it, they wouldn't have.
I think it's too beneficial. That'd be like making like vitamin D. Like, that's how I see it.
Very true.
Like, it's too like beneficial. Like,
well,
everybody could benefit from that.
I don't know. I don't know if I should be saying this, but during during the COVID scare, we were told to pull NAC from the shelves. And NAC is one of the better killers of free radicals and viruses in the bloodstream. So and we also had to pulled, I believe, quercetin, which is a really potent antioxidant as well.
See, that's sus.
Exactly. It's a little bit sus. But that moment made me realize, whoa, this really works.
Yeah.
So I mean, NAC really does work. It has one of the most gnarly smells ever. That's why I encapsulated it, because my original plan was to have a powder that you can put in your coffee or your tea or something like that. But NAC, it has a smell to it.
No,
that is tough.
That's kind of like, because I was taking spirulina.
Oh, nice.
I was taking spirulina for like a year. I mean, I still believe like spirulina. There's a lot of research.
Gosh, yeah. That's why spirulina is always in those green supplements. That's always in there with wheatgrass and barley grass.
But I had bought in like just a pure like canister of it, and it smells like fish.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feed my dog freeze-dried salmon and beef liver, so that definitely that fish smell is ugh.
And I was just drinking it with like water, so it was.
Oh, you're just doing it with water?
Water, or sometimes I would get like juice or something.
Yeah, I would always do cranberry juice with stuff like that, because cranberry juice is pretty good at dominating the taste. But overall, it doesn't matter what age you are. Everything in that product is going to protect and enhance you. The lion's mane also is going to make you feel better. So it has a lot of things that gives you natural energy. And that's what a lot of people are looking for now too. Lethargia is I think it's its own pandemic in its own right.
I think lethargia.
People are too tired nowadays.
I think it's like a culmination of things like sleep, diet, stress levels. I think that's like mental health, like how good you are, like whether you're happy, sad, or whatever. I think all of that plays into like just being tired all the time.
And I have to give it to I have to give it to supplements, is even if it's a minuscule absorption rating, you're still getting something from it. You're still getting that cherry on top. Well, it's just like black cherry, for example, is great for gout. I mean, there's a lot of things out there where if you have the knowledge of it, you can fight off cancer, kill off cancer, and prevent yourself from getting sick, enhance your energy levels, enhance your sleep. I mean, I'm not a big fan of melatonin, but there's sleep aids out there, natural stuff like GABA, magnesium, ZMA, zinc, magnesium, and B6. Oh, that's incredible for recovery and sleep.
Well, I know like I think cherry and like kiwis or something, they have like a natural not melatonin, but like something that like supports melatonin production.
Oh, that's cool. Well, zinc. There's a high amount of zinc in pumpkin seeds and pumpkin. Mm-hmm. So have some pumpkin seed. If you have issues sleeping and you are hungry, a great midnight snack or late night snack is a handful of pumpkin seeds, because it's very dense in protein and good fats, and that zinc will help you get to your deep sleep very fast.
So when do you have a timeline for it?
I don't. Kagan was talking about December, but once it comes out, there's GNC, for example. They have to have their own third party. They have to have their own testing. They have to do their own trials and approval stuff. Yeah. Even though my product is FDA registered, I mean it's going to be non-GMO. It's going to be very clean. The only additive that the only thing that we have added to it is magnesium stearate, and that's a filler. But I mean, that's not bad for you. I mean, it was either going to be that or rice flour, and they have to use that, like I said, for the process to get it encapsulated. But other than that, it's just those four ingredients. You don't have to worry about a big proprietal blend or other ingredients and it being a paragraph long of big old long words you don't know of, whether it's good or bad for you. Yeah, I made sure that this product is self-explanatory. I have bullet points on the bottle, so you're going to know what you're going to be getting, and the things and everything that I've dealt with in my life is kind of a culmination of what I put in to that product, because the lion's mane is going to make you feel better. It's going to help balance cortisol, help prevent depression and symptoms of that, make you want to do something, like going back to R.B.F. R.B.F. employee. If he or she was on lion's mane and going to that job, I mean, inevitably he or she would be thinking about ways to better their life, and probably take the job in a more positive light, which could potentially get them a better position, get them promoted in the job.
Yeah.
Because being a cashier and then being the floor manager is much different.
No, I think that's definitely
ending up being the store manager itself.
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, just realize how you feel when you eat like healthy food and like refreshing food versus when you eat like fast food, greasy food. Mm-hmm. You can physically feel like how it's affecting your body, and like even like sometimes like your brain. Like when I eat a lot of like fast food, I feel like brain fog.
Yeah, I feel a lot. I get a lot of brain fog whenever I eat crud.
Yeah.
I went to McDonald's the other day. I haven't been to McDonald's in a long time, and I got excited. I got the McNuggets, I got the hot and spicy McChicken, and it was disgusting. I hated it because I felt like I was wasting food because I couldn't even finish it. It was like you said. It just didn't seem real.
I think a lot of people don't realize it. It was like my body was
rejecting it. Mm-hmm. My body's like, what is this? You're not supposed to. There's no nutrition in this.
So hopefully, next year.
Yeah, first quarter of next year, you're going to be seeing my face a lot online, TikTok, and I want to do YouTube shorts and stuff like that. Like I said, I want to talk about my product, but I also want to enhance people's
general knowledge
of the supplement world,
the benefits,
and just the vitamins and minerals. Some of the longest lingespans of any culture is in India because of their Ayurvedic herbs. They know all natural. They know what to drink. They know what to eat. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm a big proponent of holistic health, and I think for every pharmaceutical drug, there's a holistic, natural remedy to replace it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big pharma That's an interesting topic because you have to have products to help with pain after post surgery and stuff like that, or during surgery. I mean, Big Pharma has a lot to do with that kind of stuff. But it's you feel nervous sometimes? Here, take this. Oh, you think you're depressed? Here, take this, and you become a zombie. You can't do that. Everything I was told, I was never diagnosed, but I was told that I had, or probably still do have ADHD, bad ADHD, when I was a kid. And my parents never put me on any Big Pharma or any prescription stuff. My mom actually got me on ginseng, and ginseng really helped me out a lot. And I really do think that helped me push through, because I still had my time where I got weak. But I really do think that I wouldn't have been able to break out and see the light and see the world the way I do now, and feel the way I do about myself now, if I were to be on a prescription drug.
Yeah.
It's like, if I feel like I would be more prone to suicide.
No, yeah.
If I was zombified, because I don't like being leashed. I want to be able to say what I want, do what I want.
It's just freedom.
Yeah, I want freedom. That's a big thing that so many people don't get, and I want freedom, and I don't want to be bound by a pill. Yeah, because that's what you are.
No, even when I was in the Navy and I was like going through depressive episodes, they were trying to give me I guess SSRIs, like serotonin reuptake inhibitors that help boost your serotonin levels. And I literally felt like a zombie. Like I felt like I was taking it for like a month, and yeah, I just felt like not myself. It felt like fake. It felt like a fake version of myself. Like making you feel certain emotions that like. And
it's so crazy how those doctors didn't tell you about St. John's wort or L-tyrosine, or lion's mane. Why did they just go straight to the pills or straight to the prescriptions? A lot of people will say it's because it's them getting a commission to prescribe that stuff, but
it's true. And there's a movie on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I try as hard. I hate the fact that kind of stuff happens, but it's life.
We do gotta wrap it up.
Oh, wrap it up.
So
cool.
These are my final questions.
Final questions. Here we go.
That you can elaborate on if you want, but they're kind of easy questions.
Okay.
So the first question is, what is your biggest regret in life?
I'm going to go back to the way I felt about things and why I'm a overdose and suicide survivor. I was pessimistic. I saw things in a dark light a lot of the times. I didn't respect my parents or do a lot of the things my parents wanted me to be involved with because I was Mr. Emo. I was just Mr. Pout Face, Mr. Victim Mentality, Mr. Why me? Why is all this bad stuff happening to me? I'm never going to be anything in this world. Having that mentality took away so much time that I could have had my parents, because I no longer have either of them. So that's my biggest regret, is not picking myself up by my bootstraps at a younger age. And that's a big reason why I love what you're doing and why I want to jump into doing things along those lines with my supplement. Making you feel better so that you can be better around others. Because it's infectious. It's infectious whenever you can really do that, especially around people that are down and out. If you are, because if you're uplifting, you could uplift an entire room with a smile. If that confidence is, as long as you have that confidence, let alone giving positive advice.
It's that energy, yeah.
lots of times my mom and dad, oh, let's go see a movie, or oh, you come to one of my shows or whatnot. No, I never wanted to because I wanted to do drugs or, stay in my room and listen to Marilyn Manson. It's just nothing wrong with Manson. I love him, but it's just I was just Mr. Pout Face. Why me? And there's a lot of evil in the world that loves that. They want you to be down. There was this cartoon that I watched when I was a kid from the 70s. I forgot what it was called, but there was an area in the cartoon world called the doldrums. And basically it's an area of the world where you don't think. You just are lazy and you do nothing. And that's exactly what they want. But this kid gets caught up in it and he kind of becomes lethargic and is like doesn't care about anything. And he breaks out of it, thank goodness. But there are so many people that get stuck in the doldrums. You don't ever want to get stuck in the doldrums. Victim mentality does nothing for you. Whenever you think, why me, it does nothing. I mean, you can have regrets and think about the past and be like, oh man, I wish I wouldn't have done that. Ugh. But to just straight up be like, why me? Why does it always happen to me? That does nothing for you. And it's kind of annoying towards people, even people that really care about you. I was most likely very annoying whenever I was younger. I mean, most of us are as teenagers, especially to adults, but ugh. So long story short, my biggest regret was not picking myself up by my bootstraps at an earlier age and being with people that I should have been around more, which is my parents.
Yeah, because it's time. You never know when you're gonna get that time.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody passes, that's all you have.
Oh yeah.
All you have is the memories of it.
Yeah, and mother is God in the eyes of a child, and the father is the warrior whose main objective is your protection. He's like the Black Knight. He's like the ultimate knight to protect the king, and you're the king. Like you are the main objective that the man has is you and the queen. So, when I lost them, I lost a lot. But I learned a lot from them. That's why it's so important to stay together. I remember walking in on conversations with my parents talking about how potential divorce, but they always stayed together for us, the kids. So I'm glad they did that.
That's powerful, man. That's strong.
I appreciate that. You would have loved my dad, by the way. I don't know if because I lost my mom. Oh, you weren't working there, but yeah, I lost my mom about 2019. Yeah, about 4 years ago, and then 2011 was when my dad. But it's just so crazy because my dad's death anniversary was a couple of days ago, and it's crazy. Like you think that people say time heals, it really doesn't. Like the whole going into the mirror thing. I had to do that day.
When was that?
Going
a couple of weeks ago?
It was on the 17th. So just
September?
Yeah, so just this month, just a few days ago.
Oh, a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so I had to look in the mirror and just really have a good talk with myself because I actually
I haven't had anybody truly meaningful to me pass. I mean, I had my father pass, but he wasn't in my life like growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But I see it as a way to remember, to cherish them.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as it's kind of like a birthday, like it's a reminder to cherish the fond memories that you had of them, and not necessarily like be bummed out about it, but be like just cherish them, like miss them, Yeah,
and it's crazy because the day that he passed, he died of a heart attack, and while he was having the heart attack, Mom was freaking out, saying, "Get him in the Sequoia, get him in the Sequoia. I'm gonna drive him to the hospital, and I'm carrying him, and he's just breathing hard, just trying to breathe. And I get him on the seat, and I'll never forget. He grabs my arm and he just stares at me, bug-eyed, and I swear, man, I swear he was trying to say something.
Oh, he didn't say anything?
He couldn't say anything. So I don't know what he was.
Was that the same day?
Yeah, and he never told me he loved me. He was a very loving father, but but he was Mr. Masculinity. Like, he didn't show his soft side much.
That's that cold love I was talking about.
But man, he was a great father. So, like you said, I use that as a motivator. Mm-hmm. What was he going to say? Was he going to say, do great things? I'm proud of you. That's crazy. Was he going to say, I love you for the first time?
That's so crazy.
So that's something that keeps me going.
That is so crazy. I never knew that.
And it's crazy because my dad was like that, but my mom, she was like teddy bear love. Like, she'd walk in and give me scratches on my back all the time, and she'd always be touchy-feely. I mean, she was just a mother hen. I mean, she was a
I think
mom.
that's the balance, though, of a
I had a great balance.
Yeah.
I can't stand it whenever people talk about how masculinity is toxic. Whenever you say toxic masculinity, it's literally an oxymoron. Because masculinity is something that must be taught. It must, just like femininity. You need that balance.
You need it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You don't want a man.
You can't have one overpower.
Exactly. You don't want a man that's too soft or too hard. That's gonna. You do not want that. Or a woman.
Yeah.
That most girls growing up are daddy's girls. They're more into their dad than their mom, and vice versa. I mean, men usually are mama's boys. Mm-hmm. But yeah, back to that first question. Spending more time with my parents, and being more positive about what I was given in my life.
That's good, man. Who or what has made the biggest impact in your life that makes you who you are?
Can it be?
It can be a person, or it could be a thing, or just anything that has had the biggest impact on who your identity is, who you are.
Well, I think I could go historical, of course. I mean,
yeah, it could be anything. Person, place, event.
I do have to say basketball. Probably Dennis Rodman and David Robinson. Those were my two favorite players. And it's so funny because, of course, my parents were great role models. I've had unforgettable friends and stuff. But the things that they did on the basketball court, and Rodman had a very tough upbringing. He was screwed over by management in his first team, the Detroit Pistons, which he considered like a family. And that's whenever he kind of went rebellious. Went with the Spurs, and then he went to the Bulls. And then that's whenever Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, who did not even like him and want him on the team, they just took it and they said, look, this is the way things are going to go. We need you. And he was off the court, he was something else. But on the court, he was inspiring. He was the guy that would jump out of bounds, face first into the crowd. He's the one that would always guard the biggest guys. I mean, I think he's 6'9", and guarding people like Shaq and Manute Bol and all these huge individuals. And then David Robinson, who was like this big time Christian, just a very godly man.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, there was an interview with Rodman when he was on the Spurs, and David Robinson would purposely sometimes sit next to him on buses and planes and read Rodman like Bible verses. Yeah. But he would have half his headphone listening to music or something. Dennis Rodman would just ignore him. But he was a great man. He was the most professional basketball player outside of basketball that I knew. Like, he was just a good man, a good role model. Because there was that famous commercial with Charles Barkley where we are not your role models. I am not your role model. David Robinson is a role model. I mean, this guy it seems like he could do no wrong. He always had great advice. He doesn't cuss. Like I said, he's religious, raised great kids. I mean, he was just a really, really good guy, and I strived to be like him. I wanted to be, and that's where the ego comes in. I wanted to be like Rodman, where you knew when I came around, I mean, there's no messing around. I'm gonna be in your face. But me as a person, when respected, I'm a golden rule guy. Mm-hmm. When respected, I'm gonna give you that tenfold. Just like David Robinson. My mom actually worked for a company where David Robinson was involved, stocks, or he had some kind of involvement in the company. So my mom would always talk to him on the phone and always said he was the nicest guy in the world. Did not act like a celebrity at all. Super humble guy. And I know that might sound, I know that might sound a little but to say that the people that affected my life the most are just athletes that I'll never actually meet myself. But I really do. I obsessed over basketball because it was a great. It was a great getaway from a lot of things that were happening in my life at the time when I was younger. Because we have to admit that if you're not going to go professional, being an adult and playing,
it's just for fun.
Yeah, it's just for fun. Mm-hmm. But these guys that do it, it's a serious job.
Yeah.
And they are role models, and these kids look at them like gods.
They're inspiring, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at those two, like the two world famous soccer players, Messi and.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh!
They have they're like, them two are like the top 10 most followed on social media.
Really?
Like in the world.
Yeah,
they have hundreds of millions of followers.
Oh yes,
Messi
sports,
and the other one, I forget the other one.
I can't remember. I know exactly who you're talking about, but he's when it comes to soccer,
they're
obsessed.
They have an impact on.
It's a part of the entertainment world, and some people would say bread and circuses, but I really, the times that where I sat down and I love the fact that I was able to watch it with my dad as well. I think that had a big impact as well. It was a great bonding thing. And David Robinson was a part of that for me. So even though that was not his intention. I mean, these sports figures and celebrities and movie stars, sometimes I wish some of them would watch what they say, because it tarnishes what they're perceived as.
Yeah, and they also have that influence too.
Mm-hmm.
So what they say, people who are inspired by them will have a bias towards that. Mm-hmm. They'll either agree or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like people it's like those conversations that people are afraid to have, and you're more persuaded by someone you like than versus someone that you don't know.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are afraid of what they don't know. Hence a reason for racism, tons of wars in the past. That's why we need to face it head on. My little victim mentality and why me when I was younger, it hurt me. It hurt a lot of my potential. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact that I'm going to be able to help a lot of people in my life, and I would have been able to do it at a earlier age and had more of an impact in life if I would have just gotten it together faster. If I would open my mind up faster. That's what I really want to push with the youth, is don't shut things down. If you don't like something, research it. If you still don't like it, cool. At least you know why you don't like it. There are so many things where if you ask them,
you're missing a understanding of it, a piece of information that could change your mind or could give you more of a mindset.
We closed at 5, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, is it 5?
Yeah.
Oh.
Man. I don't know.
We do.
That's why I need my own studio.
Yeah.
But
This is a beautiful
I don't know if
place,
she's
though.
gonna come back. But
Yeah, let's do it really fast.
all right. What has been one lesson that you learned the hard way?
What I can do with myself physically. I can't do upper body right now because I overtrained doing curls and stuff like that, and I blew out my MCL playing too much basketball. So I wish I could have that back. The inflammation is insane. So that was definitely a hard lesson that I learned. I wish that I could have my old body back, because I pushed myself physically way too hard. And the reason why I pushed myself physically really hard was because I was emotionally not balanced.
What is one thing that you want to do but just haven't had the chance to do it?
Get on social media. I am a little bit fearful because I'm kind of an old school, kind of an old head.
Yeah.
I was like, how do I do this? All this setup. How do you do this? And and the internet world,
Yeah.
especially because I have kind of a mouth, so I don't want to get canceled or anything. But I'm excited to get into it. But that's something that I haven't done that I need to. I should have been doing this already. So I will be jumping into it very quickly.
And lastly, is there any personal insights that you gained in your life that you want to tell the audience?
Study health, like the nutrition aspect, because that's what I'm going to push the most with my company and with my supplement. Fitness, exercise, and getting your diet in check will do away and help you erase so many problems. It's out of this world.
And not just physical. Right?
Yeah. Exercising and feeling good about yourself physically, confidence enhancer. Also good for attracting people, getting in a relationship, which is so important in life. You also have diet and stuff like that, which can help with overall longevity. If you don't eat right, you can pass away as early as in your 50s or 60s. But if you do eat right, like in India, 100, 110,
Yeah.
It's insane. Also, natural energy levels. If you know what to eat, and then your energy levels will skyrocket. So I'm a huge pusher of diet and exercise.
Take care of yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
because ever since I started getting those in check, my life has gotten easier. It really has been. Oh, she's trying to leave.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome.